Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm excited to bring you a review for the new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Autobot Pipes. Pipes is part of the 5th wave of Kingdom toys, originally having been in the 4th wave and then being pushed back to help extend the line out to fill in the gap between Kingdom and Legacy. And if you're a regular reviewer of my channel, I've probably already spoiled this toy a little bit for you because I already reviewed his mold mate Puffer, because he arrived here first, and then you also got to see a little bit of Pipes' robot mode in the Slammer review that I just did. If you haven't been watching, well then even better, because this will be your first time getting to see this guy. And he is unsurprisingly a retool of Huffer from Kingdom, because those two have always been mold mates in some shape or form. And he's been one of the characters that I think has been driving the most hype here in the latter half of the toy line. I know a lot of people, ever since Huffer was announced, they've been like, when's Pipes coming? When's Pipes coming? And they took forever to officially reveal this guy, despite all the leaked listings and stolen toys showing up on certain reviewers' channels. A lot of people have been chomping at the bit to get this guy, so I'm excited to finally get one and be able to show him off for you and let you decide if he's worth purchasing. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Pipes' packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll take a look at his golden disc card, if it's something new, then we'll see the instructions, and then we'll see Pipes himself in both vehicle and robot modes. Naturally, I'll be doing plenty of group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Pipes comes in your standard Kingdom Deluxe packaging. You get your half window here to see the upper body of the toy. Then you get your artwork, which stretches around to this side here. So you see his truck mode, you see his robot mode. I really love the expression. He's got almost kind of a sorrowful look on his face, which, given the usual unfortunate circumstances surrounding Pipes and how he's just kind of that guy always down on his luck, I think it's kind of fitting. I don't know if that's intentionally supposed to look that way, but that's the way I pick it up. Might be me just inserting his personality into the artwork, though. Here across the top, we get our branding, Autobot symbol, and his number, 32. So he actually comes before Slammer, but I was really excited to show off Slammer for everyone, so I did him first. Right on the back, we get renders of Pipes. He takes 17 steps to transform from vehicle to robot. You get his little city badge, military type symbol here. And then on this side, of course, is your Kingdom side panel art. Okay, we're going to go straight to the instructions because, unfortunately, I got another Black Arachnia card. And at this point, I have every variation of her fate, so I already know it's something that's a duplicate. So, oh well. Maybe better luck next time. Alright, so we get Pipes' instruction book. It's got his name, number, render, branding, all that stuff. You get a quick how-to for attaching his little pipe blaster things to his forearms. That, you know, mimics how he looks in the 80s TV show. Of course, you could always wield him in his hands if you want to. And then we get the transformation from robot to vehicle. Wraps around on back. The instructions have you place the little exhaust pipe things on the back of the truck, which you can do if you want to. However, if you want Pipes to have his distinctive exhaust pipes in the truck mode, you want to attach them right here along the kind of regular exhaust pipes. I don't know why they don't show that. Like, I mean, they went out of their way to design this guy a certain way, and they don't even fully utilize that in the instructions, but oh well. They did the same thing with Puffer, too. Okay, here's Pipes' vehicle mode, and you can see it's got this really dark blue, which is very reminiscent of the color palettes used in Generation 1. Things tend to be a little more brightly colored nowadays. Back in the 80s, they were much more muted colors, and there is a certain nostalgic charm to that. It's also got a lot of white, and he's got silver here on the little exhaust pipes. Now you can see I have them mounted as per the instructions, so if you want a clean looking truck mode without like kind of big awkward exhaust pipes, you can do it this way. Or you can just go ahead and attach them to the sides here. It's my preferred method because Pipes is known for his pipes. So I like them being nice and prominent. There you go. You can get it like this. And I think he looks pretty good overall. He rolls a little bit better than Puffer does. Not by much. They both have an issue with clearance because of the retooled chest and pelvic area. It juts out more and causes his wheels to have a hard time reaching the ground. And if you do this on like a rough surface, you'll probably scratch up all this. So just be aware he doesn't function very well as a truck, and Playing with him too much in this mode will probably result in some minor damage, so just be mindful of that. He's got some nice paint work here. He's got all the silver on the bumper and the grille. He's got white for, I guess there's headlights. Got white up here. He's got silver on the hubcaps, and then he's got painted taillights, which is honestly a real rarity in Transformers cars. Something about Hasbro, they don't like painting the taillights. I guess they just consider it not worth the cost. I don't know. But luckily, his are actually painted. In fact, every version of this mold has painted taillights, so they are at least doing something right here. Here's a group shot of Pipes with his most recent offering. This is the Combiner Wars Legends class Pipes. And I swear, this toy is Pipes in name only. You can see here that he's really just a little Optimus Prime truck based on his IDW Comics appearance. And, you know, they're just like, well, let's paint it blue and call it Pipes. And, yeah, you can see how well that works out. If I had to name the most disappointing Legends figures released since, you know, Thrilling 30 to Prime Wars, it's gotta be the Combiner Wars Huffer and Pipes. Like, they were some of the laziest cash-in type releases I've ever seen. And out of all the Legends toys that are getting kind of the modern treatment and coming in the form of like small deluxes, I think those two really needed it the most. All your other mini-bots have been, you know, done up to this point. And I'd say most of them that have been released in the Legends scale since Generations proper have been very solid and are, you know, would satisfy me as far as having like a quintessential version of that character, right? When you look at like the Sea Spray and Brawn and all that. And then there's some that fall a little short. And then there's this, which just doesn't even come close. So I am happy that Huffer and Pipes are getting this makeover treatment here in Kingdom. And for our last group shot with the vehicle mode, we get all of Pipes' mold mates. You get the first version of this mold, which is Huffer. And of course that's fitting because originally Pipes was a retool of Huffer from G1, so he's yet again a retool of Huffer. And then we get our two figures from the recently released Golden Disc collection. So you get Road Ranger here, who is a GoBot, who looks suspiciously like Huffer. And then we get Puffer, based on an odd Pipes release in the EU that was actually a Huffer toy colored in a light blue. Though according to the official description, instead of being his own character, he's actually some sort of time-displaced fusion of these two. I'm not really crazy about the backstory they went with for this guy. I really would have preferred if Puffer was his own character. This would be kind of like if they took Bumper, who is his own distinct character in, you know, pretty much any interpretation, and instead of making him, you know, his own guy, they're like, oh, actually, Bumblebee and Cliffjumper fell into a vat of transformium and they became Bumper. Like, I don't like it. maybe you dig the whole fusion, you know, DBZ-esque plot twist of this guy being Huffer and Pipes together, but I'm not a fan. Okay, and now we get Pipes in his robot mode. If you're looking for the transformation for this guy, make sure to check out the Puffer and Road Ranger review I just did. I cover the transformation on Puffer because he's more or less the same toy. So you can see Pipes here. He is looking like a very good, very interesting blend of his G1 toy and his animation model. The toy, mostly for the colors chosen. It's got a very distinct look to him. In fact, his head honestly reminds me of a Battle Charger. He looks a lot like the Battle Chargers. His head is new tooling, of course. Chest is new tooling, pelvic area. His entire arms, so upper arm, forearms, and hands even, are new tooling. Obviously, the Pipes are new. And then he gets this extra little hinge on the back, or not hinge, but a swivel that enables his truck cab to flip downward like this to resemble his original toy's cartoon model. And then from like here down, it's all the same as Huffer there. So he is really cool looking. Tolerances are all on point. It's got all that same posability that Huffer does. And he's just a really good looking little bot. And, you know, doesn't feel cheap or anything. Like, he is small for a deluxe as far as height, but he's very stocky. He's got a whole lot of mass crammed into a small frame, so I very much enjoy him for what he is. One thing I want to point out that's kind of interesting. Now, this is according to the Transformers wiki, so yeah, it's not necessarily gospel, but I think it seems reliable enough. So this bit of gray right here, this gray is not accurate to like the toy or the animation model. It's apparently based on an art error, where this right here was, I don't know, like miscolored or left blank or something in one of the scenes from the G1 cartoon. And then fans took it upon themselves to color this bit in, and for whatever reason, they colored it gray. So when the design team was designing this guy, they apparently took one of those like fan-colored images as their reference point and assumed that this was supposed to be gray here, which is why we got this. Again, I don't have any evidence to back that up, but the wiki is generally pretty reliable, so I'm going to take their word for it. And it does seem like a pretty valid explanation for why that's there when normally it wouldn't be. Alright, we get our second group shot with the Combiner Wars pipes. And you can see here, especially in the robot modes, these two look nothing alike. Like this Pipes is just a blue Optimus Prime body with not even a Pipes head, but a Huffer head. Because when they made the Combiner Wars Huffer, they did at least bother to tool him his own head. But then when they released Pipes in the same line, instead of giving him his own look, they just colored Huffer blue. So again, this is one of the lowest of low effort figures in Generations, like period. Like they just needed to, you know, get a trademark on the name and put something in there to fill that Legends wave, and this is what we got. And God, it is so dissatisfying. I am so happy this guy exists now. Ironically, this guy actually makes a better Puffer than he does Pipes. Because, like the original toy that is, you know, called Puffer by fans, he is a straight Huffer recolor, instead of using the Pipes version of the mold, and he's light blue. So, I may just headcanon this guy as some version of Puffer, because honestly, he fits that bill better than he actually does Pipes. Speaking of Puffer, here's our Moldmate group shot yet again. And I actually want to issue a correction to the Puffer and Road Ranger review that I did. I had said a few times that Puffer here was a straight recolor of Pipes. And that's not entirely true, it turns out. So if you look at their head sculpts, you'll notice a pretty subtle difference here. That Pipes has proper, you know, unique eyes. Puffer has a visor. So he does actually get a very, very small amount of retooling, where instead of like eyes and even the top of like a nose bridge, he just gets a plain visor. I didn't realize that. So he, just like Road Ranger here, actually gets a newly sculpted, or, you know, slightly modified anyway, toy accurate head. So that's really cool. I didn't realize that, and that definitely increases the value of that 2-pack in my eyes now. Because I thought one of them was just a straight recolor and, you know, therefore a little bit less interesting, but that's not the case. He does actually have his own unique head sculpt. Even though it's mostly the same, it does do its own thing and gives us something a little bit different. So I really like that. That really makes me happy to see. So yeah, here it is. This is our full spread of all the different variations of that Huffer body type. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy to see it. Like, they all have a similar build, but they're all very unique in their own ways, whether it comes down to their, you know, their head details, chest details, which way the cab actually faces, and then their color choices. It doesn't feel like we're just buying the exact same toy over and over again. And that's something that's always very important when it comes to redecos and retools, is that you don't want to feel like, oh, this is just, you know, when they say Malibu Stacy but with a hat, right? Like barely any different, but we're going to buy it again anyway. That's never very satisfying when you buy toys that are just slightly different from one another. Here, they each do a good enough job of standing out on their own to where I don't feel like I'm wasting my money here. I feel like I'm looking at 4 very distinct toys. Granted, technically this guy is, you know, a fusion of these two, but for like the first time ever, I'm personally rejecting the official canon and inserting my own head canon, because like I don't want to accept that. Like, I don't. He's Puffer. He's his own guy. Keep him his own guy. He's way more interesting that way. So yeah, 3 out of these 4 were all released in very short order from one another. So it might be a little overwhelming if you're the type of collector who's not like a full completionist, or you don't like having a bunch of the same mold, because you're picking up 3 versions of this mold like in one go pretty much, like all in this month. Well, this month if you're lucky. This guy might be a little hard to find still. But again, I think each one of them is unique and cool enough in its own way to where I really don't feel like I'm just throwing my money to the wind here. And that, as a collector, is the most important thing to me, is feeling like I'm getting value for what I'm paying. And this completes our look at the new Kingdom Pipes. I really enjoy this toy. I like the base mold, and I like the retooling they did on this guy. Now, granted, he was a little spoiled for me because, Puffer ended up, coming to me first. But Pipes is still unique enough in his own way because of his, unique face sculpt around the eye and nose, and his very, very unique, very 80s-like dark color there, the dark blue with the white and all that. I really enjoy him. I think if you enjoy good Transformers or you are a G1 completionist, you'll be very, very happy with this toy. The amount of retooling they put into him to distinguish him from Huffer is also very impressive. Like, I didn't expect them to redo the whole arms and everything, but they did. And they could have just done like a head swap and called it a day, but they did not do that. They did like the opposite approach to what they did with Pipes last time in, Prime Wars. And they actually went all out and made him his own unique toy. And I really appreciate that. I gotta say, I think, Kingdom, it's winding down now. We only got a few releases left, right? We got like our Wave 4 and 5 stuff. And then like the rest of the Golden Disc collection. And that should all be hitting here very soon. And then, as far as I know, unless they surprise us with anything beyond like the core Hot Rod, that's about it for Kingdom. And I think it's making a really strong showing here, in kind of its swan song days as we transition into Legacy. I just reviewed Slammer previously to this. It's Pipes' wave mate, and Slammer was absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite weaponizer characters like ever. And then this Pipes toy is also just an absolute like home run for me. He does everything he's supposed to do, and he looks great doing it. So if you can get a hold of Pipes, he might be a little hard to find now, but in the coming weeks or so, he should be a little bit easier, as he starts showing up in the stores and all that, and Amazon and Pulse. Highly recommend picking him up. I think you'll very much enjoy him. Of course, that's just my opinion on this toy. So now I want to know what you all think of Pipes. Do you see a place for him in your collection? Are you really eager to get this guy? Are you one of the people that have, been anticipating Pipes ever since Huffer was released? Or are you not interested for some reason? Either you don't like the mold, you don't care about Pipes. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Pipes. And with all that said, I will see you next time.